Hello, everyone, and welcome to Frontier Opening Bell. It's Friday, the first Friday in the month of December, and this is just a snapshot of how the markets finished off on Thursday, the first day in which we started the new month. 47,656, the Nigerian stock market eked out just a very gentle gain to start off the new month after that very strong finishing line on Wednesday, 0.71% to the upside. The BRVM fell about 0.84% on Thursday. The Egyptian market finished off its trading week Thursday, the final day of the week in Cairo, by the way, 2.87%, a very strong finishing line on the EGX 30. The South African market eked out 0.26% yesterday on the back of the political upheaval in South Africa, with President Ramaphosa's Farmgatte scandal reports, talk about impeachment or his resignation. That is still being discussed. The finance minister, Enoch Godongwana, was on Bloomberg this morning in an exclusive interview talking about this likely succession or the resignation of President Ramaphosa. Is still very shifty down there. The rand took a beating yesterday against the euro, the pound, and the US dollar. The stock market managed to finish in the green. Bond yields also rise on the back of the political uncertainty and what that will mean for Africa's most advanced economy. The ANC's political party is at the center of the entire issue being discussed. Then, of course, you've got the Nairobi bourse up by 0.3% as Kenyans and investors begin to digest the latest inflation data that was slightly lower at 9.5% in the month of November against 9.6%. Is Patrick Njoroge's central bank monetary policy interest rate hike beginning to work for East Africa's largest economy? But a bit of a question mark there. We need to see what happens from next week to see if the gains on the NSE in Nairobi is going to remain very solid. Let's get on to look at the top stories from within the East African community. Talk about Kenya's inflation, which came in 9.5%. I beg your pardon. Inflation slowing to 9.5%, 9.6% in October. Rwanda's October producer price index was about 13.9% to the upside on the year. That has to be watched very closely. That's inflation that could be beginning to trickle down to the man on the street. And the Congo's Kinshasa says it's getting about $230 million in pledges from around the world to support its climate adaptation programs. Congo has one of the richest green environments on the African continent, and one of the largest in the world as well. And Kenyan, listed on the Nairobi Securities Exchange, Kenya's big power generating company, says there'll be no cut dividend, even as its profit jumped roughly 157% for the period under review. KenGen did a number of geothermal projects in Ethiopia for the period under review. Zambia says, Minister of Finance says the country is on track for a debt restructuring. Well, let's see how that goes. So let's touch in with West Africa, where Purple Real Estate Income is on the market, selling about 2 billion ordinary shares via an initial public offering, which is expected to close 2 days just before Christmas. The company is looking to raise roughly 10 billion ordinary Nigerian currency in the local market to support its real estate expansion in commercial and housing programs across the country. The listing on NGX is being planned for the first quarter of next year after approval from the SEC and allotment of the current initial public offer, which has been brought to the market. It's the first and the only real estate offering on the Nigerian market since 2022 started. And Moody's got a new report yesterday, says the global banking system will cruise on positively in the new year, despite the headwinds from the global economy, including a strong balance sheet, which is expected to offset those problems, including non-performing loans in a number of economies. And the World Bank also on Thursday released a new report that says there's a 55% in terms of remittances to low and medium income countries around the world. That's roughly about $620 billion US dollars. That figure is expected. That growth is expected to slow down to about 2% next year, according to the World Bank latest report. You can read up on the data. And then you've got fresh IMF team, boots on the ground in Accra, Ghana, yesterday to begin talks with the administration of President Nana Akufo-Addo on that fresh $3 billion loan that Ghana is looking to get from Washington and help stabilize its fiscal imbalance. Okay, let's check in with South Africa. And of course, the Ramaphosa story is the big one everyone is looking at. And what happens? What is the political future of President Ramaphosa? Will he resign, or will his party put pressure on him to step down? Who will replace President Ramaphosa, Cyril Ramaphosa, if he does decide to resign? That's the big question. More bigger picture is the state of the economy, with the currency taking a beating, 17.7% yesterday against the dollar. That softened slightly this morning to about 17.4, according to Bloomberg data. South Africa's PMI came in at a better 52.6 for the month of November. That was according to Absa's independent data. That's much bigger than 50.0, which was recorded in the month of October. That gave credit to the manufacturing jobs data that came in earlier in the week. 123,000 jobs. More jobs was created during the period under review. However, the Agri Confidence Index came in softer in the fourth quarter, which will be ending this month. And Sonangol is looking to do a corporate bonds of roughly $150 million in the first quarter of 2023. That's according to data, part of the outcome from the Angola Oil and Gas Conference that was held earlier this week. And Namibia's central bank has decided to raise interest rate to 6.75%, while Mozambique central bank decided to leave interest rate or its interbank unchanged at 17.25%. Quite a couple of other interest rate decisions are expected across Frontier Africa next week. And of course, the big interest rate decision will be from the US Fed. That is also on tap, the final round of rate decisions for the year 2022. Take that straight up to North Africa, and you get a couple of news from Egypt, by the way, because Managem Group in corporate news says it's posting 45% profit in its consolidated turnover at the end of September, the first 9 months of this year, while Egypt says $1 billion renewable energy deal has been signed. That was on the back of the COP27 UN Climate Summit, which was well handled by Cairo, by the authorities in Cairo just a few weeks ago. The first, what they call the Africa COP, the first on the continent. In the meantime, the President Al-Sisi's administration is targeting average of $10 billion in foreign direct investment every year over the next couple of years. And the central bank or governor of Libya is looking at a more oil output from the North African countries, looking at an average of about 1.4 million barrels per day of oil, which it says will help the country stabilize the economy and continue to grow out of the crisis that followed the exit of former President Muammar Gaddafi. And that's your Frontier opening bell this Friday, the 2nd of December. I am Bosi Namafai. I'll see you next time. Go online on our website, Frontier Africa Reports. You can follow us on LinkedIn, on Twitter, Instagram, and other social media handles. I'll see you next time. Have a great weekend, everyone.